Hello, this is Positive Vibes Enterprise. I'm Tom Goodwin. This is Michelle Ronquillo.
Hi, everybody.
And the subject today has to do with gut intuition.
Yes, it's very important in life that you trust your gut. It's also a very good technique to train your gut intuition as well, because life goes really fast, and at a spare of a second, you're going to need to trust your gut.
And so much of life is about intuition, about having a sense for that fine line. Like if you're exercising, if you're eating or whatever, it's sort of like it's always a case of making small decisions that are proper rather than overdoing things. It's kind of having the right feel for things. If you don't have the right feel, you end up breaking things or being too strong. It's people don't understand a lot of times how precision and doing things a particular way with a certain grace, a little finesse, is a very intuitive thing. It's sort of like, how do you know where that fine line is?
Right. And trusting your gut of where you go. It goes into the wrong place, wrong time. Your gut intuition is going to be your guide to the spiritual understandings of where you need to go, what direction you need to go to, what you need to cut off as far as people, places, or things. You really need to trust your gut in all the areas and trust it. I think that's the main part that people forget, is that, they say, I trust my gut. But do you really trust your gut, or do you doubt it? And by then it's already too late. You have to trust your gut on the instance, on the spontaneous movement of what's going on in life.
But there are all these types of people that are trying to convince you not to trust your gut and to trust them.
Yeah, no, what is that all about? Yeah, it's true. And look at all the times that people need to get approve feelings on what other people think about them. It doesn't matter what they think. If it's healthy for you, then you need to trust your gut and do it. It doesn't matter if it's a mother, father, grandmother. I know there's respect involved, but when it comes to a spiritual understandings of gut intuition, sometimes your chemicals and the things that you need to do in life is to trust your gut and separate from the people that don't believe in you.
And salespeople, they always, a lot of times people want to please the salesperson that comes in there because the salesperson is a nice person and all that stuff. But that's when you get into trouble, because a lot of times salespeople are overselling the goods that they're delivering to you, and you can get the wool pulled over your eyes, and your gut intuition can be cut off.
Yeah, and the same thing with people in your life. They might show you just a little bit of actions that are going to keep you, coming back for more. And the trickery, they're just draining your energy. And you need to trust your gut and know when to jump off the train and get away from the people that will, cause you harm. One thing that Tom was saying earlier, it is the matter of the universal law, give and receive. Actions speak louder than words, and how you treat people is how you want to be treated. Those are really good gut intuition starts that will help you tune in and tone up your gut intuition.
Yeah, and one thing about intuition, it's like creativity. You got to practice it in order to become good at it.
Yeah.
In other words, intuition isn't perfect, and I know that from my own life, because
Mine too.
Because people don't understand me, and the intuition towards me a lot of times it's way off, because they're not used to a person like me. So a lot of training your intuition has to do with developing the empathy and understanding for other people, so that your intuition can work. If you don't have empathy, your intuition's not going to work very well.
However, you have to pay attention to what your gut intuition is giving you, because you're feeding energy into whoever and whatever is going on in your gut intuition. So you have to protect yourself and know what energies are worth giving.
Yeah, having empathy does not mean that you're going to go along with con people or negative people or whatever. In other words, your empathy has to be realistic in the direction that you understand people. But because you understand people, you know which people are good for you and which people are not good for you. And the people you will actually utilize your empathy in a way to reach out to them better be people that are worth the investment.
Yes.
In other words, you're going to get some return, because one-sided relationships are unhealthy for both sides. So the idea that you give without expecting anything in return is it's going to create enabling type behavior.
Exactly.
If that's what you do, you just give and give and give, and the other person said, "That's fine, just keep giving, just keep giving." I love it.
People that don't use their legs will not get up.
And the thing is, you can say, well, a lot of times these people will come and you'll give to them freely from your heart, and your intuition tells you to give, and the only reason your intuition will tell you to give is because they are a good investment. You can sense that that the return may not be physical, it may just be spiritual, but you'll get a return if you make a good investment. But if you make a poor investment because you're not looking at things very well, you're going to pay a price. Maybe it'll be a good learning experience, but you don't want to have too many learning experiences. You want to learn and learn new things, not have the same learning experiences over and over again. You don't want a cycle of abuse.
Yeah, that's karma. That's karma. And then also the focus with your gut intuition needs to be fulfilled in all your self-love. If you know what you need to be healthy, you know your body, you know what it's telling you, you know a healthy relationship with self, things that make you feel good. Those are the types of people that you want, because they're enhancements. All relationships are enhancements of the reflections that you need inside yourself, no matter what that outlet may be. Trusting your gut intuition and training your gut intuition to know that is really self-love, because knowing what you are having in the healthy sense of a spiritual pathway or walk will, law of attraction, will attract, and you will bring in the people that will help you evolve and be better, the best of you, by trusting your gut intuition.
You have to understand yourself, and I developed an astrology system to help people to understand themselves.
Yes.
I've always been a hard person to understand, so I've had to work really hard to understand myself first, because you can't expect anybody else to understand yourself if you don't understand yourself, because whatever they tell you won't make sense to you until you understand yourself. If they say, "I understand you, you're like this or that," and they may be right, but if you don't understand yourself, you're not going to know that they are right.
Right.
So it always starts with oneself first. And of course, understanding other people is very important too. The world involves a lot of other people, and that's where I'm talking about empathy. But empathy has to involve understanding, so you can figure out whether a person's good or bad for you.
Yeah, the reflections will show in the behaviors and the characteristics. And don't settle and tolerate. When you are trusting your gut intuition and it tells you to do things that will hurt, or because change and growth hurt. So logically, in the spiritual sense, when you grow spiritually, sometimes things may hurt to look at. Don't get into the shame mode. Be proud of the things that you see now that you didn't see before. Trust the gut and move forward into the new change.
And nothing's going to be perfect. So you may sense that things aren't perfect. Your gut may say things are not going to be perfect, but I can handle it, and this can be moved in a good direction. Because if you get too critical and say nothing feels perfect for me, you're not going to get anywhere. In other words, your gut intuition is going to say, "Don't do it. It's not perfect."
Right. You got to remember that your gut intuition is also linked to the chemicals and things going on in your head. So if you want to talk yourself out of it, that's it. But when you go into the unknown and the open-mindedness that you're going to be looking and be focused on what that gut intuition is telling you, you can make the decisions of if it's unknown and scary for a good reason or unknown and scary for a bad reason, and you need to stay away. And that is what it's there for. It's to build those survival techniques so you will survive and thrive through whatever you face. You stand in a place of strength, you trust your gut intuition, and then you move forward in the decision. But you have to always know that in the spiritual sense, everything is really close to the fine line. You have to understand there always is a fine line, but you look at the positive versus the negative, you won't get lost.
It's a judgment. And people make intuitive judgments all the time. Like there are these people that say, you should not judge. Well, there's not anybody in this world that doesn't make judgments all the time, because survival demands you make judgments.
It's all about how open you are to those judgments.
You don't want to be overly judgmental. I mean, that's
right.
where people have the problem. But at the same time, you have to evaluate, and that's what the intuition helps you to do. And so when people would tell me you shouldn't judge, and I say, that's not the way the world is to me. They're always judging me, and not in the best way, because I'm different. So therefore, I see, and that's why you have to be careful about not buying into the traditional viewpoint that say it's this way or that way. There's a reason for the traditional viewpoint, but they take it too far. You should not judge. And the thing is,
there is a fine line always in the spiritual sense. You always have to see that when you focus on something, your mind and perception is going to go back to times that give you examples of those things. And then when you get hurt, your body is trying to make sure that you're not going to get hurt in that way again. So you always have to stay focused of what your body gut intuition is telling you and what is your spiritual gut intuition is telling you.
And understanding is so important, because you can judge, but you have to judge with an awful lot of understanding.
Yes.
You can't,
and empathy.
And empathy. You can't be judging with, from a high and mighty superior ego or superior attitude. You have to be, and people want you to make evaluations. A lot of times they look to people to make real good evaluations of them so they can make assessments as to what they should do or where they should go and what they should take on. A lot of times they need the outside information, even though it's ultimately up to them and they have to figure it out. You don't want to be depending too much on what other people say. You just use that as added information, but you make the judgments yourself.
Yeah, that's right. I think in the world we all have to have those positive wraps of reassurance, but when it comes down to it, the independent choice is yours alone.
And you got to be careful about, you want to, when you can be very direct with people, you can be very straightforward, and you can express your sincere beliefs. And you don't worry when you're, being true to yourself, whether people don't like it or not.
That's
because
right.
if you're heading, you want to be, you develop your intuition to hopefully you head in the right direction. If you head in the right direction, you're going to scare some people away and you're going to draw other people, and you have to trust your intuition will draw the right people to you.
That's right.
And if it isn't working, you better do a reevaluation. You better start working on yourself with meditation and all, and try to work out past trauma or things inside of you that had disturbed or hurt your intuition, the abuse or the trauma inside of you that is making you not able to see things clearly. And it does affect your intuition. So that's why you have to use meditation and stuff and try to undo the past harm that's been done to you and heal yourself.
Well, and also you run across people that are reflecting their own traumas. So you have to use your gut intuition to know that that is their issues, that they're just reflecting it out on others, and you let it roll off like water on a duck's back, and don't give it any energy and don't absorb negative energy. You want to really try to see that in the main parts of a spiritual life, there's always going to be the mixture of give and receive, in and out, and also trusting the gut of what is positive versus the contrast of negative.
And even people that have trauma, if they're spiritually enlightened enough, they'll be able to separate the trauma from the intuition. Actually, they'll be able to say, I have this trauma, I'm taking that into account.
Yes.
And once they take that into account, their intuition will work better. In other words, they have to understand they have the trauma.
You have to have the focus on it, yes.
And so you can heal it. And once you understand you have a problem, that can be taken into account.
Yes,
and then your intuition can work a lot better. So it's not as simple as one might think. Everything's pretty complicated when it comes to the spiritual.
It really is. It's not black and white at all, you guys. It is literally about understanding logically on a reality-based sense and an emotion, because Tom always says, and it is so true, emotion powers the spiritual. And that is where you kick in and literally focus on what is negative, what has been traumatized in you, and what is positive, what is going to heal you, what is going to make you evolve, what is going to get you up out of bed every morning and motivate you to do your life.
And the reason spiritual programming, having the right spiritual program, is so important, because that can help you to see things without, beyond your trauma, because you can see it differently. You see your trauma differently because you've developed spiritual theories that are more connected with reality and let you understand why things happened in the past and where you want to go with them in the future to be healthier.
Building your gut intuition so much when you do that, when you just put the focus on that. Those little tiny things like that will make you grow and evolve and be able to trust your gut intuition. And the other thing that I have to mention is confidence. Confidence, the emotion of confidence, needs to run through you like nobody else can take that confidence away from you. Peer pressure or somebody's doubt in themselves that they're trying to reflect on you. No, you hold that confidence high and you push that gut intuition to whatever you want to evolve to be and grow.
And the more you use it, the better you get, because basically intuition is used an awful lot by artists.
Yes.
And artists use it over and over again, and then they start getting results, and then they start trusting it more and more, and they get more and more confident.
Yes.
I of course, do a lot of meditative training, physical type training, which built up my confidence. Because when you can put yourself through an awful lot and you can get away with it because you're tuned into yourself so well that you can push the edge really strongly without getting into trouble. That gives you confidence, because actually intuition should be at its best when you're in a crisis, when you're fighting for your survival. That's when intuition should be the sharpest. And
for sure.
And you do the spiritual training that gives you that type of intensity and ability to be tuned in. Because if you're pushing yourself really hard and you're trying to get away with things that other people aren't capable of, you better be really tuned in intuitively so that you don't injure yourself or hurt yourself, because it's a real fine line. The harder you push it, the more the fine line becomes finer.
Yes.
Or harder to do the balancing act on the tightrope.
Yes, I do spiritual readings with building gut intuition. We all are psychic. I'm a psychic medium that's just been riding my bike for a very long, many moons and many years. So understanding the walks, I am still learning, but I will learn with you by understanding that sometimes I might run into somebody that gives me a clarity perception, and I'll take it in because I'm open-minded to know that in my gut intuition, everything's changing, everything evolving, and everything will be new in a new perspective as the days go by. We evolve, we change. So it is not a clear-cut black and white, past, present, and future type of answer that people are getting from psychics. That is a ripoff. What is really going on is that people need to build their self-confidence by hearing reassuring words from people that they can literally trust. Now, when you go out to a stranger and you get a reading from that, they might mess with your gut intuition and build your confidence in a different way. But when you are looking at the deep confirmations of self in your own walks, you can build your confidence, you can build your gut intuition, and then nobody has any power over you, because that's the main thing. We come in alone, we go out alone. Tom's amazing. We have to do the footwork ourselves, and it's hard. It's hard. It's easier said than done. But the ones that are out there, the ones that want to try to change and evolve, will see that open-mindedness, trusting your gut intuition, and always not taking anyone else's word over what you feel is right. Now, mind you, it has to be a reality positive thought that's not going to harm anyone or yourself. But when it is in line with what you need to do to evolve, you are working that gut intuition.
Yeah, and like I said, emotion power the spiritual. And the thing is, the spiritual underlies everything. Now, science tends to dismiss the spiritual, but science, that's in their own interest if they want to, make it so they're the only, area that counts. And the fact that the spiritual is not doing very well in this world because people aren't on the highest level.
Yeah, we're a little bit in the Stone Age.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We're not very advanced in the spiritual. So science has really,
we need to catch up.
Science has really taken over. But when I say the spiritual is powered by the emotions, you're not going to find scientists coming across with great passion and emotion and intensity that a spiritual person can come across. Right. And emotions can make things happen. They're in the arts. And the arts are not scientific.
And they're spontaneous.
And they're spontaneous.
And you can't lock it in.
In other words, science has a good part of it in that it helped us with hard reality when you're dealing with hard science. But a lot of theoretical science, it's not so hard, and you've got to be careful with, buying into it too much.
Please be careful of where you get your information and what you do with it. You research everything that is out there, and understand that when it's leading you to an evolvement, it's leading you to the universe of how to be one with yourself first and foremost, and really create something positive in this world, because you're on a mission. You're here for a reason. What reason is up to you to trust your gut and go with those thoughts that will evolve you into something great, something you were born to do.
Yeah, your intuition it's sort of like a rudder that's supposed to help you to move into a better future.
Yes.
And science may say that time is an illusion, but it's not an illusion virtually, because we have purpose. And time gives us something to work towards, gives us hope, gives us a future that we can make a better one, that we have the free will to make a better one. You say, it would be bad if you don't have free will, then it takes away your desire to make things better.
Correct.
Continuously until the future happens. In other words, you don't take anything for granted, and you work and you work and work, and you don't give up until the future actually happens, because you can lose the race at the last 10 feet of the race. You can lose things at the very end if you don't keep it up.
And I'm going to say something here. In today's society, when you do not give up and you keep the motivation, you get the blessings out of that hard work. And unfortunately, I've seen, when I was growing up, we had first place, second place, third place. Life is unfair. There's times where people will lose a race. And that's good for the pride to swallow it, say, you know what, that person's better, I'm swallowing it, and next year I'm going to work my butt off to make sure that I'm in second place instead of third, or first place instead of third, whatever it is. But there's always losers, in a sense of the raw sense, to teach us to be strong, to be winners. It has to be that way, because why? Everybody has to strive for their own success.
We need the best people in the positions that are out there in this world.
Let's keep it real.
So in other words, you have to figure out what you can do that is the best, and then work at getting that position. And a lot of times people will lose a position to somebody else, but that's just the way it is, because you have to have the best people, and there's only so many positions.
Well, not only that, you have to understand that being okay with yourself and being okay with 100% of what you do is great. Like, you are in competition with yourself. And why are you in competition with yourself? Because you want to evolve to the higher, best good of yourself.
And you will find a place for yourself.
Yes.
You'll find a place where you can really excel.
Fit in 100% of your efforts, of 100% of what you are. And not looking at someone else. Look at yourself.
And that's why when you're picking people intuitively,
yes,
you want to pick people that are strivers,
yes,
that are trying to get the best out of themselves. Not people that want you to take care of them and enable them and to give them your energy freely and not what I mean, because people take advantage of other people and they become a burden.
You want people in your life that will challenge you to be the best you that you can be. So when you have friends that literally challenge you to those levels, like, man, I'm gonna make myself, you know, a better friend by communicating better or having more tact with other people. Every relationship in your life, whether it be brother, sister, cousin, uncle, best friends, lover, wife, it doesn't matter. You get 100% out of focusing on what you give and receive from that relationship. And that also will build your gut intuition.
You do want to help other people, but you want to help other people that are striving to help themselves as best they can, and you will give them, you know, you'll help them out with your energy, but they have to do their part too. Meaning there is helping other people, there is giving to other people, but you want, because if you help the person that's the worst person in the world when it comes to being messed up spiritually, you've done a lot to improve the world, provided they are working seriously to improve themselves.
They have to do their footwork.
So you want sincerity in people. You want them to be honestly striving to do better. And if they're not striving to do better, you're going to waste a lot of energy, and you're not going to be able to do the good you want to do in this world, because all your good energy is going to be going down the drain, enabling somebody that would just be a parasite and eat it all up.
Black hole.
And that's just the reality of this world. This world is a hard reality. And why do I say that? Well, you just look at this world. Just look at all the hunger. Just look at all the abuse. Just look at all the negative things happening. So you have to be a realist, and you have to understand that you have to be careful in this world. There's a lot of energy you've got to avoid in order to be safe. But at the same time, you want to do the best you can to improve conditions and to help everybody out that is sincerely trying to make a positive difference for themselves and others.
Yes, and one thing I have to say that I need to say is, being a positive person does not mean you're flighty-dighty, let's go with the flow, everything's wonderful and great, oh, look at the plant, look at the tree, let's hug the flower. It's not all about that. Being a positive person is literally focusing on the negative that got you to the positive. So you are literally looking at the things and the flaws that you went through and learned and overcome to be in a better positive state. You're standing in a place of strength, being positive by the contrast and the lessons you've learned, making you stronger, making you tougher, making you wiser, to know what directions that you need to trust your gut, and it will lead you to those blessings. So having a positive life is literally the balance of looking at the negative to get to the positive.
And I'm a great believer that we can transform this world into a fantastically greater world than it is right now.
Yes, let's
that
do
we can
it
do
together.
Amazing things. That's what my whole focus is. It's making a positive difference in this world. Except for you have to do it in a way that mechanically it will work. And when you're dealing with the mechanics, you have to find the right people to make it happen. And as you get the right people to make it happen and they become an example, there'll be more people moving in the direction that's proper, and you'll find more right people to work with you, because more people will turn in the direction that'll make them right for making positive change in this world.
We all need positive raps, positive people in our lives that enhance the voice in you. That's the most important. It's not grab a whole bunch of people that see things the same way as you. No, it's grabbing a whole bunch of people that see the same way of you, but believe in your independent gifts, believe in their independent gifts, that we all have something to offer, that maybe it might be like-minded. Sure, it's like-minded, but it's not stumping the independent voice of the person. It's respecting it. It's enhancing it. It's saying, yes, Tom, I believe in your walks because they work. Because when I go on a meditative walk and I do the breathing, it works. When I'm having a stress panic attack and I do the meditative breathing, it works. Those types of things are literally us using the information that someone else has given, tried it out for ourselves, experienced it, and then reassured, hey, yeah, you're on the right track. And you know what? I support your independence. I support your walks.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that everybody's different because we need the different abilities working together.
Yes.
We only can do so much on our own, and the more different you are, the more you understand the need for other people.
Yes.
Like I could say, when it comes to the pack of dogs that have developed from wolves have become really specialized.
Yeah.
And that's the reason they've become a lot tamer, because the more they become specialized, they automatically know that they need other dogs, even more so, to get along with. They have to get along more because they are different. They have to work with other people, other creatures. Let's say other creatures,
yes,
in order for it to make it work. So they're no longer wolves. They're special. They become specialized, and automatically, when they became specialized, they became tamer. It was like it went together.
And the evolvement never stops and waits for you to understand the spiritual perceptions in life. Things always evolve. It always, once you hit an understanding, you start all over again. So it's a constant give and receive, learn, learn, learn. That's why the saying is, I know, but I know nothing. It's because you're always constantly evolving. You're checking, you're tuning that gut intuition, that making you stronger, confident, braver to voice your opinions, your voice when everyone's beating the drum to someone else's drum, and you're beating your own rhythm, your own music, your own song, and you have the confidence enough to voice it out. Now we're talking strong gut intuitions.
And life is complicated. Like I'm talking about a fine line. You usually have to take into account a lot of variables.
Yeah.
That's why this talk may seem complicated to people, because a lot of times people like to make things overly simplistic spiritually.
Yeah.
And when you make it overly simplistic, you can't take into account all the variables and then create the fine line, which makes sure that the variables are in the right mix to make things happen.
Yeah.
So there is a complexity. That's why you need your intuition tuned in, because how are you going to possibly handle that complexity unless you have something inside of you that says something isn't quite right, and it might have a sense for what isn't quite right, where the balance isn't properly, what is off, what is going to cause problems. So therefore there is a complexity in this issue. And the spiritual is complicated, but it is reasonable how it works. You just have to get used to all the variables.
It's
like the weather.
It's
like reporting the weather. The weather has all these variables, but you can make sense of it once you figure out the variables.
Exactly.
So it isn't like it's not reasonable. It's just complicated, but it can be figured out, just like science figures out some pretty complicated stuff themselves.
Yes. So on this video, we are going to link one of our videos that we did last year that is pretty much talking about the same types of spiritual intuition. But I believe that, like Tom says, it's so complex in your own experiences. Everyone's different. Everyone's going to get a different understanding, perceptions. That's why we want you to write in the comments. If you have any questions or things that you were thinking about after you saw both of our videos or even one of our videos, please leave a note for us down below and we will answer it. We will talk about it. Please subscribe, share with your friends.
We do need word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Because basically, I'm a spiritual pioneer. I'm different. And the only way a person different can really reach people is by word of mouth. Because if they just write it down, people aren't going to bother to read it because it's something they're not used to.
Well, we want to spark spiritual conversations, because we need the focus to literally be on new perceptions, new ideas in the spiritual sense, to get everybody motivated to move out of the Stone Age in the spiritual and move into the high-tech Jetson lifestyle that we're living now, and understand all these spiritual things that are going on that will deal with psychology. Most people are dealing with depression and anxiety, but see, in the spiritual, trusting your gut and understanding what's going on in the spiritual, you can deal with things in the psychology sense of the word. And I do gut intuition readings. Tom does wonderful astrology chart readings. We're always here to help you. We're your positive rap. We are your sounding board. If you need to express something and have a question or a way or a perception you are trying to go, let us know. Let us help you.
And we're into teaching so that you'll be able to do it and help other people. We're not into being
we're all students.
We don't want to be too overly relied on. We want to have a lot of other people helping us out, so we don't have to do it all ourselves.
Yeah, we're all students and teachers, all of us. That's what's the beauty about spirituality. The real healthy spirituality is that we are going to enhance you as you enhance us. So it's all a give and receive type of relationship, that we are all students and we are all teachers. So please spread the word, and thank you for watching the video. And Tom is going to also link some awesome his meditative walks. I really want to push that. I really want to challenge everyone out there that's watching it, this video, to try the meditative breathing techniques that Tom has available.
And I have videos that would
he'll link it.
I have videos that demonstrate it too.
So keep it up. Keep your confidence up. Don't let anyone put you down. Train that gut intuition to see the unseen of the world. The unseen is the emotional side that can literally push you.
And don't let the world get you down.
Yes.
There's always a way to improve your situation. As long as you're improving your situation, there's hope for the future. So don't ever allow the world to put you down.
That's right. Stand in a place of strength and build yourself from there. This is Positive Vibe Enterprises.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and please spread the word to other people, because that's how we need these videos to go viral. We really do.
Yes. And the main thing is that it's out there to help you build the best you that you can build, and that's what we're doing. We are literally walking and experiencing the best that we can do. So till next time, bye.
Yeah, thank you.